You ever see a moment in your life where you just know, right then, nothing's ever going to be the same? That's what happened the day Officer Doyle walked up and slapped a 16-year-old kid right across the face, in open court, with the judge watching and the whole room holding its breath. He didn't shout, didn't warn, just snap, and you could hear the smack echo off those polished walls. The boy didn't cry, didn't even flinch. He just wiped the blood from his lip, glanced at the door, and that's when his father walked in. I'll never forget how the air in that courtroom shifted, like every molecule froze, waiting for something no one could predict. What would you do if you saw your child hit like that, right in front of the world? Most people would snap, yell, rage, make a scene. But not Marcus Carter. He didn't raise his voice, didn't throw a punch, didn't even speak at first. He just stood there, silent, and somehow it was the loudest thing in the whole building. That silence. Man, it rattled everybody. Sometimes silence is the only answer worth hearing. You know what I mean. You could feel judgment the minute you walked in. Every set of eyes already weighed, measured, sentenced, before a word was said. Jalen Carter, just a kid, wrists cuffed, walking with deputies at his side. He moved quiet, not dragging his feet, just resigned, like he'd done this dance before. I heard someone behind me whisper, "He must have done something bad." And just like that, the jury of strangers had delivered their verdict. Doyle. He took the stand like he owned the place. Calm, almost bored, telling his story the way you'd give a weather report. He resisted. Got mouthy. I restrained him. The judge barely looked up, just nodded. That little nod, you could feel it in your bones. That was the real sentence. Jalen sat there, still as stone, hands folded, eyes fixed ahead. Then he did something that made the hair on my arms stand up. He asked, almost gentle, "Is this your idea of law?" No threat, just a question, but Doyle couldn't take it. He stepped off the stand, closed the gap, and backhanded Jalen across the face, right in front of everybody. You could hear people gasp, a chair scrape, but nobody moved. Not the judge, not the bailiff. Just this pressure in the air like everyone forgot how to breathe. Jalen didn't react, just slowly wiped his lip and looked at Doyle, dead in the eye. "You just made a mistake you'll regret forever," he said, calm, cold, but not cruel. The kind of thing that just lands in your gut and sits there. They called a recess, but really, everyone was just trying to process what the hell had just happened. That's when Nina Ford came over, court-appointed defense, sharp, steady, the only one in the room who didn't look away. She crouched beside Jalen, introduced herself. "Names don't mean anything in here," he told her. No attitude. Just like he'd already figured out the game was rigged. She pressed, gentle but firm, and finally he said it. Jalen Carter. No record, no history, but you could tell something about him was different. He wore this silver chain, barely visible under his collar, with a tag that caught Nina's eye. Carter, Field Office, FBI. She didn't say a word, just nodded, and Jalen tucked it away like he was tired of explaining. Court recess isn't for catching your breath when you're Jalen. It's just the next round. He sat alone while two officers, not Doyle, new faces, strolled over, said they were running a routine sweep. They tore through his bag, scattered his notebooks and pens, even chucked his sandwich in the trash. Nina tried to intervene, but they cut her off. Protocol, ma'am. Left a note. Suspicious behavior. Didn't find anything, but left a stain all the same. I heard one officer mutter, "Future inmate, not a student." Jalen didn't react, just zipped his bag, packed up what was left, and stared at the floor like he'd already seen this play out 1,000 times. Doyle came back in, smirking, added resisting arrest and obstruction to the record like it was no big deal. The judge, Simons, just clicked his pen, charges noted. That's when you realize the trial isn't about what you did. It's about what they decide you're allowed to become. Nina wasn't having it. When court resumed, she stepped up with a flash drive in her hand, cool as you like, and said, "Your Honor, I have new evidence." Video from a security cam at the corner of Darrow and Fifth. The judge barely looked interested, but she handed it over anyway. The footage was grainy, but clear enough. Jalen standing between Doyle and an old man with a cane, the old man scared and pleading, Doyle shoving him hard. Jalen stepped in, arms out, just trying to protect. No punches, no shouting. The room went quiet as the clip ended. Nina looked the judge in the eye. This footage contradicts Officer Doyle's statement. My client was preventing harm, not causing it. You could almost feel hope flicker, just for a second, but Judge Simons didn't hesitate. Unverified footage. Dismissed. That was it. The truth waved away like an annoying fly. You could hear disappointment, not loud, but heavy, a weight in the chest. Doyle's grin just got wider. It's always not their fault until they're in handcuffs, he said, loud enough for everyone to hear. Jalen looked up, finally, and said quiet but solid, "You're not the first to bury the truth, but I might be the last to stay buried." No drama, just real. Now here's the twist. In the back row, a man in a dark suit, calm, unassuming, had been watching the whole time. He didn't stand out, but when he finally got up, you could see everyone sit up straighter. He walked slow, deliberate, all the way down to the front, stood there between gallery and bar, and when he spoke, every word landed like a gavel. "I am." Just that. Then he showed his badge, gold, gleaming. Marcus Carter, Deputy Director, FBI. Doyle froze. Simon stared. The whole room held its breath. Marcus turned to the judge, eyes like steel. "You silenced my son. Now you'll hear the sound of accountability." Then, clear as day, "I am requesting a special evidentiary hearing on grounds of prosecutorial misconduct, judicial bias, and falsification of testimony by Officer Doyle." Nina stepped up, handed over the FBI authenticated video, watermark and all. Then Marcus presented files, 3 separate misconduct cases on Doyle, all buried by Judge Simons. This wasn't just a trial. It was a reckoning. Marcus didn't stop. "Officer Doyle, you are under arrest for obstruction of justice, abuse of power, and falsifying official records." 2 federal agents came in, smooth, no nonsense, and cuffed Doyle right there. The crowd gasped. Simons said nothing, just looked smaller, older, defeated. Phones came out, recording the moment. Within hours, the whole world was watching. Hashtags, news alerts, a movement building on the strength of a boy's silence and a father's resolve. AS agents led Doyle out. An older woman in the gallery whispered. He didn't raise his voice, but his silence was louder than any gavel. That's the truth, right there. Jalen never shouted, never begged, just waited, steady as stone. And when justice finally showed up, he met it like he'd been expecting it all along. His faint smile in that moment, it went viral. It became a symbol. The dominoes started to fall. An FBI review. Every case Judge Simons ever handled reopened. Every truth swept under the rug dragged out into the light. When Jalen and Marcus stepped outside, the crowd surged, reporters shouting, flashes popping. But Jalen just paused, let the noise fall away, and said, "When justice speaks for you, you don't need to yell." It wasn't a punchline. It was wisdom, earned the hard way. Marcus put a hand on his son's back, said quiet, "I missed your childhood, but I won't miss your courage." And the 2 of them walked side by side, not to glory or headlines, but to a different kind of future. People started clapping, not wild, but steady, proud. This wasn't just about Jalen. It was about every kid told to sit down, every father who almost waited too long, every truth that deserved to be heard. They tried to silence a boy, but instead they woke up a generation. And if this story stirred something in you, even just a little, maybe it's because deep down we all hope silence can still mean something, that dignity still matters. What do you think? Was justice finally served? Or is this just one battle in a fight that never really ends? Drop your thoughts below. Let's talk about what it means to stand up, even if it's in silence.